Don't go on spontaneous ocean crossings. Just don't do it. It's never a great idea. Look at the wind and weather first. Plan it. Learn your limits. Learn your friends' limits. Oh, you already did it. Damn it. Okay. I feel like one of those girls making pancakes, snuggling up in their boyfriend's too large t-shirts. It's a nice feeling. It's like something really happens when you don't listen to anything. I have browsed the web a bit on the phone, but I have left it here for most of the day. It feels like another life. Another life. Another life is possible. I also really enjoyed this modification of the camera, or lens adapter I made for my favorite wide angle. It's pretty cool. It looks pretty cool with such a small lens. Did you find that in the sail? Was that living in the sail, Atris? Oh, Oh. I managed to catch it under a bowl and let it fly off. Apparently Atris hadn't hurt it too badly yet, but he's now hunting in the sails again. I don't know. I smell dirty. Crap, do I have like a whole population of bats in my sail? How fast are they breeding? As an in the soul nomadic person, I'm always drawn in some direction. And if you are a nomadic person, you know that you are always pulled towards north, south, east, west. But right now, I'm not really pulled anywhere. The wind blows out to sea, so we will take a look out there. It should be pretty windy later, I think. But I guess this place, this time of year, is just too good to be pulled away from. I was just going to have a look at that infinite horizon. Then I looked at the heading. Then the clock. Then my brain broke down. The guy responsible for reasoning the brain office checked out. The logic officer signed off. Let's go to Gotland. If you have a lot of frustrations in your life, imagine being this spider. This is Atri's first time with ocean waves, so this is a great trial to see how we can handle this. You'll get used to it. I'm sure he'll get used to it. I didn't really realize it, but we are navigating towards a minefield of shallow grounds. The most dangerous thing with sailing is land, so we wanna avoid it at all cost. Right now I feel like I have really longed for some bigger waves, and this feels great. Unless we hit something. The winds and everything seem to be very nice, so I think I'm going to spontaneously do my first ocean crossing for this year. It's just over the day, probably, if I don't lose my mast or something. It's to Gotland, the island in the middle of the Baltic Sea. This will be Atri's first ocean crossing. Atrahassis. The weather is great. It's going to be more windy this evening, but then slow down towards the night. We're doing over 4 knots, and if we continue the same pace, we will be on Gotland around midnight. I have sailed many times to Gotland. I prefer to sail during the night, because then I can just come there when it's bright outside, and it's much easier to come to a place when it's bright than coming in the middle of the night. The wind and the waves picked up during the day, and soon I was longing to get sheltered from the worst waves behind the island. But that was a long way away. Maybe 10 hours, maybe more. For each hour passing, it feels more and more ridiculous to turn around. It would be better to be more ridiculous sometimes. Sometimes I'm too set in my ways. I commit, and I don't look back. The boat is steering itself. I just trimmed the sails a bit, and I haven't even tied the rudder, the tiller, the wheel to anything. It just perfectly goes in the direction towards the wind, or with the wind to the side. It's really nice to have a long keel. I often think about that these older plastic sailboats were built in the peak of the old school of priorities. This boat is finished in 1970. A long keel. It's supposed to go close to the water and cruise along, be ocean going and sail itself without any effort. That's the nice thing about ocean sailing. Now I can just relax, take it easy. I don't have to watch the GPS all the time. I can just watch that I don't hit any other boats, but there are no other boats. Life's great. I think I'm going to have cheese doodles, because when you're going ocean cruising, you can have some snacks. These solar panels are just mounted temporarily, I think. I want to get some mounts for them to put them up in the arch and make them foldable. Atris very easily totally trashed the spray hood. You see, it's totally... I'm thinking of replacing it with something more exciting, like that bar behind the first arch, the one I used some 3D printed parts for the mounts. It's not really doing anything now because I put these aluminum rods in the back, which means that I could probably use that, and that's a stronger, bigger, stronger stainless piece than these are. And when going sailing like this, you want something strong to hold on to. Faced by death, you renegotiate your life. You promise yourself to lead a life to be proud of. You promise yourself to be stronger at your weakest points. You promise yourself to call the ones you love and tell them that. God knows what Atris promised himself.
How are you doing, Atris? Are you seasick? Oh no.
I should have reefed the sails, but at some point it's already too late. Next time I know it will be gusting 30 knots, I should reef before it picks up. Preferably. Stopping the boat and putting a reef in the mainsail poses a big hazard. To you hurting yourself, falling overboard, or turning yourself inside out. If you fall overboard, you're a goner. Life jacket or not. There is no chance of rescue. At one point I checked the bilge. It was filling up. But I'm pretty sure most of it is the water tank still leaking. I have to fix that. Later. You don't think about the boat filling up faster than the bilge pump or you can manage to pump out. You don't think about pink elephants. Because you got other problems. Will the mast stay on the boat? will the cheese doodle stay in your belly. In rough weather, every hour shaves off some of your strength until you just fall asleep, whether you want it or not. The cold splashing water drenches you just so the hard wind can cool you down even faster. There is no escape, no way to pause, to exit, to regret your decisions to go. There is just to continue for hours upon hours. This is why I love sailing. "10 degrees makes all the difference sometimes. I steered a bit north, maybe too much, just to surf the waves instead of getting hit by them from the side. The horizon is 5 kilometers away when being 2 meters above the water level. This is how far you can see. When sailing you see lighthouses sinking beneath that horizon if you have binoculars or vision good enough. That is not much, about 2.5 nautical miles.
The wind has built up all afternoon. It's much nicer sailing a bit north. They can't even hear me, so what does it matter? I was on the brink to considering throwing up before, but now I think it's really nice. Really good sailing. It's just that we're a bit of course. I have no idea if me steering is better, less squally, or less wavy and faster. Sometimes it feels faster when I steer, sometimes it don't. And sometimes, every time we have been totally splashed, I have been steering. So that's I don't know. It's better to go over the tops of the waves on the side, not straight. Straight is when you get splashed. At least when I'm steering myself, I don't get any sense of sickness. But we have maybe 5 more hours until we get behind Gotland, and some lesser waves, maybe, probably a little bit. And I hope my crew
It's holding up to both me and Atris.
Oops.
Crap. I hope I don't lose my camera. Risking it all to document this crazy adventure. Is it the last time I will go in this kind of weather, in this kind of wind? Yes, every time I go in this kind of weather and wind, it's the last time. Every time. I see land, but I'm very tired, and the sun is setting, and I'm getting cold, and Atris peed on my life jacket, so it smells a bit like cat piss from the life jacket. Hopefully the waves will die down after we are behind the island here. They really should. At last we were sheltered behind Gotland. The sun went down. I made sandwiches. I just got a visit from the Swedish Coast Guard. They asked me Swedish. Jag bara svenska, ja. And then they asked from where I was coming and where I was going, and what was my boat's name. I said it's Fredelina, and they asked me how many people were on board, and I said it's just me and my cat. And then he said like good evening, and then they went on. First when they were flashing their flashlights on me, and I was like, I'm in the middle of the sea. Not really, I'm closing in on Gotland now, but I still have like 2 hours more. But when someone flashes flashlight on you when you're in the middle of nowhere, you're a bit surprised. They have yellow stripes, and I don't have any fishy business. I'm just a crazy sailor that's out in this weather. But it's calming down here. The big island, Ön, Gotland, is making the waves much smaller, and I am not at all seasick längre anymore. The last part of the sail is always the slowest, or I don't mind it's slow now when it's calm, but it always takes so long before you get to the harbor, the last piece. I'm not sure if I'm going to anchor or if I'm going to go into a harbor marina in the middle of the night, and I don't know how it looks and where I can tie up and everything. It's wild thing to do, I think.
Are you getting bored? Bored? Are you bored?
I decided to take down the sails when this lighthouse is turning red. Are you It's turning red. It's turning red. You can see it on the film. Oh, better. I tried to eat some out at sea. Very barf friendly food and very easy to just eat cold. It's meat soup. I didn't want to go into a harbor in the middle of the night, and I can't see if there are boats there or if I hit anything. So I put my anchor down here in Fårösund, in a place where there are no cables on the ground, hopefully, and it's very calm now. I was here about 3 or something. 3:18. I think it took 17 hours. My latest record was 20 hours. So I think I prefer night sailing and much calmer weather. I don't like 30 knots of wind. I don't think it was really 30 knots, maybe. Thank you for watching. I think I'll sleep well tonight. See you in the next adventure. The next day we stayed anchored. Exhausted, we just slept and rested the whole day. Ultimately, we arrived unscathed to Gotland. There had been no breach in the hull, but in the trust between cat and man.